When a superpower uses force to gain economic and political control of production and finance capital in less developed regions, it is termed imperialism.
Traditionally, imperialism is thought of in economic terms, and we continue to exercise a great deal of economic imperialism.
One has to recognize that it is the dominant group that sets the rules. And to the extent that the Bretton Woods Accord, the Bretton Woods system, was created when most of these countries were not even countries, nation states. They were still colonies. And this dominant group, the United States, Britain, etc., sets the rules in terms of International Monetary Fund or the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, which we call World Bank. And those rules were set without consultation or without even caring what the colonies felt. With the emergence of the colonies into nation states in the 60s, it became difficult for International Monetary Fund to still use the rules that were applicable in the 40s to them.
The World Bank and the IMF were part of the Bretton Woods Agreement. You can say they're sister agencies to the United Nations.
The World Bank is an international organization, therefore not subject to any form of congressional scrutiny.
The United States is the major shareholder of the World Bank. And as a practice, the United States always appoints the president of the World Bank. The Europeans appoint the managing director of the IMF.
When they give a loan, it comes with the demand that the recipient government cut back very sharply on its social welfare programs and all kinds of price supports and health help and so on. And this causes, obviously, great hardship to the people of the recipient nation.
Powerful forces like the World Trade Organization, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank are main proponents of globalization policies. Critics point out that this formula of globalization is being enforced and propelled by transnational corporations largely unaccountable for their actions, aided by these institutions and governments.
The third world country is heavily indebted. It owes money to its international creditors. It owes money to the World Bank, to the IMF, to what is called the Paris Club. And it can't pay off its debts.
The main clients of the IMF and the World Bank are the multinational corporations. It's for their benefit that these things are done. These countries have to cut back sharply on their expenditures to be more appealing to foreign investment.
World Bank and IMF policies of conditionality really caused a lot of harm, and they demanded instant release of price controls.
They deregulated the exchange rate, and then prices just went fly high, and then they said, oh no, we can't increase wages because that causes inflation. And in the meantime, people's earnings had collapsed by 90%.
Always one of those is raising interest rates, often to ridiculously high levels, 20% and plus, which has the effect of stifling domestic investment, because who can borrow money to invest and create economic development at that rate within the country? Very few, while assuring a high return on foreign investment.
If Suharto in Indonesia, maybe the most corrupt dictator in the modern period, has billions of dollars of debt, you don't take the billions of dollars from him and his family who robbed it. What you do is impose structural adjustment programs, conditionalities, on poor Indonesians, which destroy their lives so that the debts can be paid off to the rich investors.
The money that goes into the privatization fund actually is intended to pay back the people who are the creditors and who are very often involved in acquiring the assets which are being put on the auction block.
Clearly, those policies that require overnight privatization, for example, they create hardship in the countries where they are practiced, and it gives the impression of taking advantage of a desperate person.